Do you ever notice that after divorce, some men just fall apart? They get stuck, bitter, angry at the world, and others, same pain, same chaos, somehow come out calmer, stronger, and more grounded than before? Why is that? Well, because one man clings to who he was, and the other lets that old version of him fall away, so he can become who he is meant to be. This video is about that difference. Why some men crumble after divorce, and why others quietly rebuild. Maybe right now you're waking up every morning and something feels missing. Maybe it's your sense of purpose, maybe it's that inner strength you once had, or maybe it's your identity, shattered, lost, and slipping through your fingers like sand. But what if that feeling of loss could become the foundation for something greater? What if this pain you're in is actually the start of your next chapter? You're not broken, but you sure don't feel whole. And I know what that feels like, because I've lived it. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something powerful. Divorce hits hard. It doesn't just end the relationship, it ends a version of you. Everything that gave your life shape, the routines, the plans, the small familiar things, just disappears overnight. At first, you try to hold it together. Keep working, keep smiling, keep pretending it's fine. Because that's what we're taught, right? Don't fall apart and don't look weak. But under the surface, everything inside you is rearranging. The man you were, the husband, the provider, the protector starts crumbling. And that's terrifying because that identity gave you purpose. Then comes the silence. The house feels heavier, the nights get longer, and in that quietness, the questions get loud. Like, who am I now? And what am I supposed to do next? That's when the danger sets in. Because this is the moment where some men start to crumble. They drown in bitterness, they look for someone to blame, and they live in the past. And others, they let the collapse do its work. They let that old identity fall away so something real can be rebuilt. That's the difference. That's where the fork in the road appears. The bitter path or the rebuilding path. I remember when it hit me. It wasn't the day the papers were signed. It wasn't even the day when I packed my bags and left the house. It was after. The quiet mornings, the still nights, and the sounds of my own breathing in a half-empty room. I'd sit on the edge of my bed, staring at an empty space next to me. Not because I was alone, but because I didn't recognize the man staring back in the mirror. I had spent so much time being the partner, the provider, the quote-unquote good man, I forgot how to just be me. And divorce tore that mask off. And it hurt deeply because I realized how much of my identity had been built around what I was to someone else. But in that pain, that hollow, stripped down version of myself, that was when everything started to shift because it forced me to see what was left when all the roles, all the expectations, all the noise disappeared. And that's when I began rebuilding quietly from the inside out. Here's what I've learned. The men who crumble after divorce keep performing. They keep replaying the same story. The blame, the anger, the endless loop of what she did. At first, that anger feels like strength, but it's not. It's just bitterness hiding behind a mask. And as long as you wear that mask, you'll never grow. You never face yourself. Because the truth is, it's grief that never got processed. The men who rebuild, they stop performing. They stop chasing and they stop pretending. They start owning their pain, their patterns, and the part in the story. That's where masculine authority starts, with ownership. It's not about control, it's about clarity. Clarity on what you actually value, what you're willing to fight for, and what kind of man you want to be. Once you start taking full responsibility, not just for what went wrong, but for who you're becoming, something inside you settles. The chaos slows down, the mind gets quiet, and you start seeing clearly again. Divorce doesn't have to define you, but it can definitely refine you. But only if you stop resisting the fire and start walking through it. I want you to picture something for a moment. Picture two men standing on opposite sides of the same fire. One man fights the flames, cursing them, swinging wildly, exhausting himself, but never moving forward. The other walks through it, slowly, painfully, every step burning away what no longer belongs. When he comes out the other side, he's not the same. He's quieter, sharper, clearer. And the first man, he's still there fighting, still stuck, and still afraid to let go. That's the truth about growth after divorce. Some men stay in the fire forever, others let it reshape them. It's not about a new car or a new six-pack gym body or proving anything to anyone. It's about walking into a room with calm energy, That calm presence, that grounded confidence, that's the energy people feel before you even speak. Women notice it, your kids feel it, other men respect it because it's real. This is the man you can become if you choose the second path. The path where you stop running from pain and start rebuilding through it. It's time to take back your authority, not by being louder, but by being clearer, calmer, and more present. That's your power, and no one can take it away from you again. If you're still in that bitter phase, replaying the past, trying to make sense of it all, don't rush and don't try to numb it. That chaos or silence during or after divorce, that uncertainty you feel right now, it's not punishment, it's the beginning of your return. So stop clinging to what's gone, let it go, and let it rebuild you. Every man who's truly leveled up after divorce had to walk through that darkness alone. You can't skip that stage, but you also don't have to do it without guidance. So if you're ready to rebuild from the inside out, hit subscribe and stick around. Not for quick tips or ego fixes, but for the quiet kind of growth that turns pain into presence. Together, we'll rebuild calmly, intentionally, and with strength that doesn't need a shout. Because you're not broken, you're being rebuilt. And this, right now, is where the rebuild starts.